It was supposed to be an ordinary Friday night. A teenage girl, babysitting in a quiet neighborhood. The kids were asleep, the house was calm. But then the phone rang, and the voice on the other end knew things they shouldn't. Things that made her blood run cold. Hours later, she was gone, and the truth would terrify the entire community. This is the story of Rachel Turner. Rachel was 16 years old, living in a small Midwestern town in 1987. She was responsible, cheerful, and known as the perfect babysitter. On October 23rd, she was hired by the Carters, a young couple with 2 small children. Their home sat at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac. The Carters left around 6:45 that evening, thanking Rachel as always. By 9 o'clock, the children were asleep upstairs, and Rachel settled into the living room with homework and a bowl of popcorn. It should have been a normal night, but at 9:30, the phone rang. Rachel answered, expecting the Carters to check in. Instead, a deep male voice whispered, "Are the children asleep yet?" Startled, she hung up. She told herself it was just a prank. But minutes later, the phone rang again. This time, the voice said, "You look so comfortable on that couch." Rachel froze. Whoever it was could see her. She rushed to close the curtains and lock the doors. But the calls didn't stop. Over the next hour, she received 6 more. Sometimes the voice laughed. Other times it asked questions only someone close could know. One call even described the exact pajamas the Carter children were wearing upstairs. By 10:15, Rachel was terrified. She dialed the police. Dispatcher logs show her trembling voice. "Someone is calling me. They know things about the kids. Please hurry." Officers arrived within 10 minutes. But by then, the house was quiet. The kids were asleep. No broken windows, no forced entry. Nothing. Rachel insisted the calls were real. The police advised her to stay calm. If the caller returned, she was to answer and keep the line open for a trace. At 11:40, the phone rang again. Rachel hesitated, then answered. The voice whispered, "Check the basement, Rachel." She dropped the phone in fear. Officers rushed downstairs. The basement was empty, just boxes and an old washing machine. When the Carters returned home around midnight, Rachel was shaken but safe. Police told her it was probably just a cruel prank. But by the next morning, Rachel's parents reported her missing. She never made it home after leaving the Carter house. At first, police suspected a stranger. But then came the twist. The phone company confirmed that all the calls had come from inside the Carter house itself. Detectives returned. This time, they searched every inch of the basement. Behind a false wall, they found a crawl space. Inside were food wrappers, cigarette butts, and a pile of clothes. Someone had been secretly living in the house. Suspicion turned to a handyman named Gary Mullins. He had a record for trespassing and had once been caught hiding in an attic. But before police could find him, he vanished. For almost 20 years, the case went cold. Rachel's parents kept her bedroom the same. Each October, they lit candles in her memory. Then, in 2006, new DNA testing changed everything. A cigarette butt from the crawl space matched Gary Mullins. By then, he was in prison in another state. When confronted, Mullins confessed. He admitted he had been secretly living in the Carter home for weeks, sneaking in through the basement door. He said he liked watching the family's routine, especially when babysitters came over. That night, he had only meant to scare Rachel with the calls. But when the police showed up, he panicked. As Rachel walked home after midnight, Mullins followed her. When she threatened to tell the police what she suspected, he attacked. He strangled her and buried her body in a wooded area just 3 miles away. In 2007, Rachel's remains were finally discovered. Mullins was sentenced to life without parole. The story of Rachel Turner became a chilling reminder for families across the Midwest. Sometimes the greatest danger doesn't come from strangers outside the door. It comes from someone already inside.